Hey guys, I'm Razmeek, and today I'm going to show you what you didn't see in episode 73. In short, in this video, you will see a full analysis of episode 74. Don't forget to give it a like, and we'll get started. For some reason, episode 73 starts with the third part of episode 70. It's that sad episode where Plungerman and Black Speakerman die heroically. And here's a little fact. We've already watched this episode from 3 angles, and that's just the beginning. And here's a continuation of that scene, but from the camera woman. This is actually very important information because I'll be revealing all the details very soon. Episode 73 so far is exactly the same as the third part of episode 70, but only from the first-person camera woman's point of view. Look at how perfectly DeFook has crafted this series, put everything together quite harmoniously. And the best part, as it turns out, it was all a flashback, a camera woman's memory. Next, we get to the second part of episode 57. Yeah, that's right, because it was in this episode that we noticed the camera woman was right here on the left. As we remember, it was in this episode that the agents did manage to rescue the Titan Speakerman, but it's still a flashback. After these events, we appear in episode 52. Yes, it is in that episode where we are first introduced to Vuma's camera. But it needs to be emphasized here. Yes, she appeared in episode 52. But that in no way means she didn't do anything before episode 52. Episode 38 confirms what I'm saying. By the way, this is a new angle on this very episode. We even get a glimpse of the infected big cameraman here. As it turns out, Plungerman has been familiar with the cameraman for a long time. As we can see, even in the cameraman's lab. That is, in episode 23, Plungerman and cameraman knew each other. But that's not all. Let's take a look at Plungerman. You'll notice that his right leg is missing. In the next shot, you'll see why. And so, we've moved on to episode 14. And by the way, we immediately notice Simp Cameraman. And for some reason, he's also sitting on the toilet, like he did in episode 54. And yes, even here we notice Plungerman. And he's even giving the likes, Cameraman Woman. But as you remember, there was one very strong toilet in this episode that just crushed everyone, even his allies. Here he destroyed almost all the agents, even the cameraman in red. By the way, I have a separate analysis about him. You can watch this video. It appeared on the top right corner. Next we hear a metal Skibidi Toilet, crawling, destroying everyone in its path. Now, it's time to tell why Plungerman lost his right leg in this scene. It seems to me that everything is clear to you already, and there is no need to explain anything here. Well, the most interesting thing is that we have moved to the very beginning of Camera Woman's memories, namely September 16, 1985. That's the day that Camera Woman was created in the morning, and they have a very interesting conversation.
Dave, you back?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Okay, we're all set. Proceed with phase 1, I think.
Okay. Opening the gate.
This is actually one of DeFookbomb's genius scenes. There's a very interesting detail that not everyone has noticed. First, we saw live people after a few dozen episodes, albeit in the past. Many people started to think that these people were the cameramen. That's not entirely true. These people are only 1% related to the cameramen, and now we'll smoothly get to the most interesting part. But first, we need to emphasize that we're only noticing 2 scientists here. And Katie and Dave, they're probably engineers, or they're also scientists, but without the white suit. And I think the camera woman is the first camera-like human invention. But that's not all I'd like to share with you. As soon as the camera woman wakes up, she immediately sees her creator in front of her. And further, as Kate walks up to Dave, she turns to the camera woman and shows a barking gesture. The camera woman, of course, recorded the whole thing. After Dave turns Kate down, a few seconds later he still looks back and he sees Keith's creation. And as we can tell from his gesture, he likes it. Camera woman, of course, recorded all those gestures. She realized with her artificial intelligence that the barking gesture was a good thing. It really is. Like this video. Yeah, I did. So camera woman is just mimicking them. And then we notice that they activate something, and then the tape cuts out. And I have some sad news. The tape cuts out because they're all dead, except for the camera woman. Who knows, maybe this is the very beginning of the Skibidi virus, but I'm not so sure. I would claim it 100% if I saw a place of blue color. At least yellow color, since yellow, as we know, is the color from the toilet's demise. So there you go. After that, the tape is interrupted, and that's the end of the camera woman's recollection. And that's where a lot of people are wrong too. A lot of people think this tablet belongs to camera woman, and they think she's number 69. But that is certainly not the case, as Plungerman is under that number. Let me explain. Yes, I know that Plungerman has never picked up his tablet. Of course, I'm not going to say that this tablet belongs to camera woman, because it doesn't. You can clearly see in this shot that this tablet belongs to cameraman, not camera woman. Well, since the camera woman was the first camera-like invention of humans, her tablet should say Camera Woman 01. I'm about to make another argument that this tablet is the property of Plungerman. And so, it's safe to say that episode 73 begins right here, as we see 3 agents descend from the camera helicopter, and one of them is the Vantisman's camera. We immediately notice the enhancements on her hands. Well, we first noticed these enhancements in the first part of episode 70. Next, Camera Woman lands on the Skibidi Toilet, which was shown in the second spoiler. And of course, she tackles that toilet, and here comes that second argument. The camera woman pulls out the Plungerman's plunger, and then she just kills the toilet. Then the question immediately becomes, where did she get that weapon? Well, it's time to recap. Part 3 of episode 70. Camera woman says goodbye to Plungerman and takes Plungerman's plunger and Plungerman's tablet. And since we've never seen Plungerman have a tablet, I'm assuming that this is his tablet, and the number isn't too high. Just 69, because Plungerman has been with us since the first episodes, and as we know with the other cameramen, that number goes up to over 1,000, and then the camera woman takes the toilet, throws grenades at it, and blows it up. On the right, we notice a big wounded cameraman, as well as an engineer without a left arm. Even the engineer himself shows it. Camera woman, of course, helps him to his feet. And this is where we first see the eye scan of the camera woman. After marking 5 toilets, she destroyed all of them with just one shot. Here, of course, it should be mentioned that we first noticed this ability in the 52nd episode. That's when it first appeared. And after she destroyed everyone, you can notice one character on the right. Very mysterious and mysterious. I think you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the secret agent, because he's right here. He's just standing there watching everybody. He's basically doing his usual thing, but for some reason he's not glowing. And by the way, if you want a new analysis on him, let's get 50 likes. The agents continue to storm the area in a Skibidi toilet, but then a new hybrid toilet appears from somewhere. I'll tell you, this is a new version, as we've never seen such a pumped-up hybrid toilet before. After he sees the camera woman, he wants to destroy it, but then Skibidi the scientist saves it. Yes, you didn't hear that. As Skibidi the scientist flies in from behind her and destroys all the Skibidi toilets in his path. How is that possible, you ask? Because the scientist died in the 3rd installment of episode 70. Yeah, that's right. So inside the scientist's skeleton, TV woman, you can see it from behind this hole. As we remember, the big cameraman used a laser weapon to make a small hole inside the scientist, and that's how TV woman accessed the suit. Next, camera woman thanks TV woman for saving her from the hands of a hybrid skybidist. Next, we notice 4 containers. And as you may have noticed, they get bigger and bigger with each episode. As we know, one of the containers holds the Skibidi scientist's unfinished invention. And since the agents know about this, the Skibidi toilets have gone for a little trickery. They purposely use multiple containers to distract their attention. So in this episode, we are now shown 4 containers, but only one of them contains the Skibidi scientist's unfinished invention, and it's clearly not in this container, or the invention is in this container after all. We'll talk about that later. Of course, G-Man is a bit shocked here as he sees his teacher, Skibidi the scientist. You can see from his face that he doesn't really want to destroy him. He probably already realized that Skibidi the scientist is a fake, and after he already realized, kills Skibidi the scientist. As a reminder, TV woman was there. You might have thought that TV woman blew up too, but no, of course it didn't. As we know, TV man can teleport. I'm 100% sure that's exactly what TV woman did. In fact, have you ever seen a TV woman race los? More specifically, have you seen a single TV woman get eliminated? I haven't, since it's the strongest race among agents. Well, let's talk about this container that fell. I still think that's where the scientist's invention is. First of all, G-Man here stood right in front of this container, and as we can see, defended. Second, if this is a fake container, why do these Johns want to take this container a second time and carry it out of here? Wouldn't it be easier to just leave this container here in the desert and fly away and not risk their lives? After all, these toilets with 3 containers have already flown away. As we can see, these toilets want to save this container at the cost of their lives, but they can't do it because they are undercut by the Speakerman Titan. Yeah, you didn't hear it. It was an audio reference, and it's actually a sound. The Valve intro, and Valve is Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 is some characters from Skibidi Toilet. So anyway, that's kind of it. But after Titan the speaker appears, then Titan the cameraman appears. And then at the end, TV Man Titan shows up, with one very confident phrase. He tells G-Man that there is nowhere to run to, as he is surrounded by Titans. To which, in English, Jimin replies, You have no idea what awaits you. And yes, don't be surprised that G-Man speaks English. After all, that's what Dafook already told us about, that Skibidi Toilets know many languages, and that they chose the most difficult language to speak, Skibidi language. After G-Man's threats, G-Man also responds to him pathetically. After that, the super mega epic action begins, which we will only see in the second part of the 73rd episode. This is how the first part of this episode ends.
The second part of the 73rd episode is exactly the same as the first part, as we remember the previous episode ended at this very moment, when the Titans surrounded G-Man. The first part we have already analyzed in detail. Who has not seen, I recommend to look at the upper right corner. This is where the second part begins. Immediately, we hear G-Man's phrase, "for the scientist," but it's strange. He left him alone when the Titans were destroying the scientist, and here he pretends that he cares about the scientist. I don't even know what to say here. Post your thoughts in the comments. Next, Speaker Man shows up and shoots G-Man in the back, but he in turn activates his rear defense shield, and thus blocks the Titan's shots. Next, the TV Man Titan says that, "I'm the last thing you'll ever see." While he says his punch, at this time G-Man activates an unusual weapon. This one is the same sphere, but with green elements. It's clearly not a sphere control, but something else, probably some kind of shot enhancer. Next, G-Man hits the Titan's weakest point, namely the core, and the TV Man Titan steps back a bit, but doesn't fall to the ground. Speaker Man Titan continues to land shots to G-Man's back and gets a toilet response as well. All this time, Cameraman was resting on the sidelines, and as soon as it was his turn, he immediately rips one laser cannon off G-Man. And as we can see, G-Man has changed the projectiles to ones that take control. And yes, G-Man is going to fulfill our theory that we talked about in the previous videos. Further still, he shoots at Cameraman, but Cameraman discards that shot and points his finger that but. Actually, Cameraman Titan shows this symbol not to G-Man, but to us, the viewers, because we all expected it to be like this. G-Man continues to fire shots at Cameraman, but from behind him, TV Man calls G-Man to him, jumping at him. The Titan unfortunately misses and falls to the ground. But here one hidden detail could be noticed. Here a secret agent could be seen to the left, more specifically his green glow. And when G-Man shot at Cameraman, the Titan built up all his power with his Astro Toilet hand, and then counterpunched. G-Man reacted by laughing and firing back. Speakerman decided to deprive G-Man of the ability to fly and destroyed his jetpack. G-Man bit off Speakerman's left cannon and lost some teeth. Then when Speakerman used his core, G-Man did a headbutt and threw the Titan very far away. When Titan got back on his feet, a parasite flew in from behind and infected Speakerman. And that's when I immediately remembered the old episodes, specifically episode 32, when Titan Speakerman managed to infect him. I'll have more on that in a bit. As we know, after the infection, agents have their personal color changed to the color of Skibidi Toilets, namely yellow. Next, the TV Man continues the dialogue again and says that G-Man infected Speakerman for nothing, and just with one punch, TV Man Titan throws Speakerman and the parasite away. It's funny here, of course. From episode 32 to episode 57, it took us 25 episodes to heal Titan Speakerman. And it turns out you just needed a good punch in the Speakerman's face to help him. Next, Cameraman appears and fixes G-Man's head, then throws him on the ground, activates his guns and starts roasting G-Man, and then you can hear the same snoring meme. But unfortunately, the Titan has the same hybrid toilet from the first part of episode 73 on his neck. As we remember, he survived then, because he ran away when he saw the fake scientist. The hybrid toilet manages to wound the Titan, but Cameraman notices it and throws it to the ground. And when he was about to crush it with his foot, the toilet retreats and survives again. But that's not all. A Skibidi Toilet emerges from under the sand with 250,000 tons of TNT. It clings to the Titan Cameraman's leg and explodes. Because of this explosion, unfortunately, our camera woman loses her right arm. Yes, as we recall, the entire 73rd episode is in the camera woman's voice. And here, by the way, you can see that leaked shot. G-Man, as it turns out, survived. And then he strikes back at Cameraman, and again bites the Titan's weapon with his mouth. But Cameraman manages to fix his head again, but that doesn't stop G-Man, and he shoots right into the Titan's cameraman's core. And here you can see the second merged shot. But Speakerman Titan comes to the rescue and stops G-Man. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, TV Man threw the parasite away with one punch. But G-Man manages to deal with the Speaker Man as well and throws Titan to the ground and tries to finish him off. But here we can actually see a very hidden detail. As we can see, G-Man only has 3 laser cannons left. Have you ever wondered why they're left in that position? What if G-Man is working with Apple and wants to destroy Samsung? Or maybe G-Man is using iPhones and that's why he has the cannons in that position? I don't know. But I'm going to do a 30-minute analysis on this soon, and I'll tell you all about it. G-Man tries to kill Speaker Man, but he fails, as the Titan uses his ultrasound. But G-Man has recently acquired the same ability and uses the same technique. But unfortunately, G-Man was stronger than Speakerman, so he managed to throw Titan to the ground. And then TV-Man Titan appears. And here too, we can notice a merged shot. G-Man tells TV-Man that he will still be useful to him. Most likely, G-Man is hinting at a temporary alliance to defeat Astro Toilets. If you are interested in this theory, let's get 500 likes on this video, and I will publish a video tomorrow where I will tell about it in detail. Next, TV-Man Titan responds to G-Man and pounces on him, and unfortunately, he misses again and falls to the ground. Next, TV-Man says it's time to destroy you, and turns on his red glow to destroy G-Man. Toilet is holding on as best he can, or more specifically, waiting for his package. For it is in these containers that the scientist's unfinished project is hidden. And yes, there's the meme sound again. G-Man says that he will survive despite his injuries, which may be true as he will be helped by what is in the containers. It is unlikely that he will appear in episode 74, but when he does, he will be very much improved and turned into G-Man 5.0 next. Toilet takes his containers, activates his defense field, throws the TV-Man Titan away, and hides. We've never seen Titan's TV-Man so angry before. Indeed, 3 Titans could not stop G-Man, and even gave him the containers. After that, as we expected, all the characters were seriously injured, especially G-Man. And an additional scene has already begun. In these shots, we notice the critical wounds to Titan's cameraman. As we can see, the cameraman is missing the right turbine in his neck, and the most serious is the core. We see that G-Man specifically aimed at cameraman's core. Luckily, G-Man was unable to completely damage Titan's core. In addition, we notice that cameraman is missing his left leg. Those who watched my analysis will remember that cameraman lost his left leg because of a toilet with 250,000 tons of TNT. Despite this, the Titan rises and takes his leg, on which he rests. Next, we notice Titan's spokesman, who is also critically wounded. His right arm is blown through and, like cameraman, he is missing his left leg. Speakerman's core looks better than cameraman's. In addition, he is also missing the jetpack he is flying. The cameraman, after seeing his friend, picked him up with his claw and put him on his back. Then they went on foot and very carefully, most likely, to the base, to the agents, to be fixed and improved. By the way, I've talked about this in previous videos. You can watch it on the channel. Then Camera Woman from the roof lands on the ground and joins the agents. And as I said in the previous video, the episode continues from that point, and the agents move towards the entrance of the Skibidi base of toilets. But suddenly, some new character appears that looks like a race of TV man. He gets in the way of Camera Woman and says, "I know who it is," or "I know who is this." Maybe he knows G-Man, or I have mistranslated this phrase. If you have another version, please write in the comments. If you zoom in, you can see that this TV man has a purple glow on his screen. In addition, this TV man has purple lines on his hands. This new character is actually very interesting. It's weird, but we never really thought about this character. Look, we currently have 3 races of agents. The cameramen, the speakermen, and the TV-mens. Each has their own Titan. Each has a female agent, and each has a special character.
Cameramen have Plunger Man and speakers have Black Speaker.
But we never thought about what the TV man character was. And as it turns out, the TV mans have a character just like that. Too bad he didn't get to meet Plungerman and Black Spiker. Then after meeting this agent, Cameraman has something on his right arm that stands out. Some say it's blood, and some say it's oil. I always stick to the theory that all agents are robots created by humans, so I exclude the first option and leave only the oil option. Next, the very engineer she reached out to for help approaches the camera woman. The engineer very quickly stopped the release of oil and thus temporarily repaired camera woman's arm. And by the way, she lost her hand when cameraman lost his leg to that skibidi of an explosive toilet. Next, the engineer is attacked by a wounded hybrid Skibidi Toilet. As we notice, something is also oozing out of this toilet, and the source as we see it is the toilet. A brown-colored liquid is oozing out from inside the toilet. Most likely it's... Okay, that's not important. Let's see what happens next. A TV woman teleports in from behind, strikes the toilet, and finally fries it with his yellow glow. As we remember, the TV man has another ability that other TV mans don't have, and that is the ability to fry. And so she takes advantage of this ability and destroys this toilet. Then we see her condition on the screen. As we can see, she's very tired. And it's not surprising because she somehow managed to survive the soft landing. The most important thing is that she survived. Further to the right, the agents heard the sounds of gunfire, and their target changed direction. In this shot, you can also see graffiti showing the TV Man logo. The graffiti was done recently, as we're noticing the paint swelling here. We didn't see where the TV Man moved to, but most likely she teleported to follow the camera woman. And the camera woman flew to the sound of gunfire. Fun fact, you can find a street camera that's just fixed on the wall. Or Skibidi Toilets visibly destroyed the agent and hung it on the wall for all to see. But unlikely. After she landed, bloodstains can be seen on the right. Next, once the camera woman opened the doors of the Skibidi base, to the right she noticed two toilets that had destroyed one person a few minutes ago. Here, that man was down on the right, and he was an unusual man but a scientist. You can see that this man was alive a few minutes ago, as his body is still fresh, which is not the case with the people who were on the other base. I mean, Episode 68 and Episode 69. And of course, the camera woman destroyed those two toilets. But in addition to those two toilets, there were two other toilets, one on the bottom and one on the top. But both of them were neutralized. One got a plunger in his mouth, the other was destroyed with a cannon. Further on in the colliders, we can notice another man, but this time a civilian. As we notice, he had an AK-47 assault rifle on his hands, as well as an earpiece. Well, he needed the rifle for protection, but as we can see, he could not resist these toilets, and unfortunately, he was destroyed. This man's body is also fresh, which means that these shots were fired by this man. But that's not all. So do we notice he's wearing headphones that most likely protect against the Skibidi virus. As we know, people turn into Skibidi Toilets when they hear a viral song. But if no one listens to that song, they won't get infected. Well, to the left we notice closed doors. But for some reason, the camera woman decided to check this room. Turns out the doors were locked and she had to kick the doors in. And that's when I was shocked. It was the first time since episode 11 that we'd seen live people. It was very surprising to me. Here we noticed 8 living people, but that's 8 so far. I'll tell you an interesting detail soon. There are different people here, military, civilians, scientists. This means one thing. All these people, these are all survivors. It's not a special some government squad, it's specifically survivors, as they are all different, but there is one among them who is likely to become infected soon. I mean, pay attention to this. Everyone has protective earmuffs on their ears, but not this person. I think as early as episode 74, we see the man turn into a Skibidi Toilet. Unfortunately, this person is wearing a scientist costume. Doesn't that mean the toilets will have another scientist besides this one? I don't know. I'll wait for your versions in the commentary. And of course, we have to look at people's phrases. Once the survivors saw it wasn't a Skibidi Toilet, they stopped shooting. This man in uniform is their leader because they obey his orders. He is the one who stopped firing at the cameraman. Next, he asks her a question. "You're us, aren't you?" To which the camera woman responds with a barking gesture, which means an affirmative answer. And yes, we almost forgot. Usually, before analysis, we traditionally look at the description under the video. And maybe you didn't know, but the fuck leaves a secret message in the description under his videos every time, and even sometimes edits it after it's posted, like he did in the previous episode. Then we notice this text that says, "Titans confront G-Toilet while cameramen infiltrate last piece of Skibidi Lab. What do you think will happen next in episode 74? There will be a video about it on the channel soon. Subscribe to the channel and also hit the bell so you don't miss this video. I would be very pleased if you liked these videos. Well, with you was Razmeek. I'll see you all very soon. See you all soon. Bye.